Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. It is nice to see so many of you out there already. Mary Ellen, Rebecca, good to see you.
Rabito, good to see you, buddy.
Rob from Trip Hacks DC and Mark Finley, good morning. And Pila. And Pila says, what dog breed is Brig? And that he's adorable. So we don't know. We adopted him from the Humane Society. I think he's Doberman and Black and Tan Coonhound. That's my guess.
And his story is, well, the story they told us at the Humane Society was there was a truck driver in Kansas City, and this family got him from a truck driver at a truck stop somewhere near Kansas City.
And they kept him for a few months.
And they kept him. They docked his tail and snipped his, what's, and and I think he was very, very energetic. He still is an energetic puppy, but he's 6 years old now.
When they dropped him off sometime like in January, we got him in February. He was 8 months old, and he was
65 pounds.
65 pounds. He's about 100 pounds to my knees.
Yeah, he's 100 pounds now and has grown like 6 inches this way too. So I think they bit off more than they could chew.
I think that's probably a good estimation, but their loss is our gain because we have the most amazing dog ever.
Yeah, Jocelyn. So when we wanted to get him, you want to tell the story or?
I had to get Mark drunk. I was like, it's time to have a dog because.
Well, another dog. We had
another dog. My dog Q, that I got when I was young, like pre-Mark, pre-kids.
Hey, sometimes more.
He saw me through a lot of my life, college and things. Anyway, he passed away, and I just couldn't bear the thought of a different dog for a few years. But I was like, okay, it's time. I hate coming home to an empty house. Like it's like not. I don't know. Life is more full with a dog. So we went back home to Mark's parents, and I got 3 beers in him and took him to the.
It was more like 7.
It was not 7.
It was a lot of beers.
I got him to the Humane Society. We went to see this one dog, and that dog was just not our dog. Like it was a fine dog.
Yeah, I mean, he was in a room with somebody else. And we're like, I was like, nah.
Like we saw him playing with other people too, and we're like, that's not our dog. So we go back and we're looking at the puppies in their kennels, and they had just come in from playing outside. And
well, they weren't all puppies. There were other.
Well, yeah, there were big dogs too. But Mark just sticks his hand into Brig's cage.
Well,
as he's
first off, all the dogs are going ape crap because we walked in, so they have all the kennels and stuff. There's one dog that's not going ape crap. And that was Brig.
Well, he was bouncing, and
he's like, and then they had the food there, and he's just eating. I'm like, oh, well, just tell. I go, right in there, and he just licks my hand and goes back to his food.
Can you imagine what a moron sticks their hand in a dog that you don't know? I mean,
he seemed chill.
It worked out fine. Anyway, we fell in love with Brigadier, and so he is now our dog. Yeah,
that's right, Marilyn. You always see the right one. So Brig knew. So Jocelyn's still peeved because she wanted to get a dog, but apparently I got the dog.
He imprinted with Mark. Like if Mark's not around, the dog's at my side, and I'm his human. But if Mark's around, I'm just trash.
Yeah, Brig's right down here right now with me.
Yeah. So anyway, that's enough. Hey, Eric B. and Scorpio Sue. It's nice to see y'all.
Thanks, bud. Happy belated birthday, buddy.
Yes, happy belated birthday to Eric.
Paul Tipton, good to see you.
Hi, Paul. Wow. So thanks for joining us on Simply Jocelyn today. Does anybody have any good questions about or bad questions about anything to start out with? You had some topics to discuss today.
Yeah, we were going to talk about some of the food things and food road trip foods because since we're on Jocelyn's channel, we thought we'd get some more food stuff in there.
Yeah.
We can have some more things there. And we're going to have this again tomorrow too, so it's a Saturday and Sunday because one place I said Saturday, another place I said Sunday, so I said we'll just do both on Jocelyn's channel. So if you come up with a question, we'll be here tomorrow too, so don't worry about it.
All right. Oh, Scorpio Sue says, our rescue imprinted on my mom. He literally runs upstairs to tell her he went potty. That's funny.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah, no, it's funny because we've been home, we're like in 5 or 6 months now, quarantine, and we've never been all the time with Brig because we travel a lot, and so like Brig now has become like super codependent on me. He just
it's disgusting. Like Mark can't put shoes on without the dog thinking that they're going on a WALK. And yes, we have to spell it because
he'll be like, oh.
Like he hasn't been on one yet this morning, and so he's like having a hard time with that. So
hey Liz.
Hey Liz.
Round Dove, what's up?
Nice to see you guys. Rebecca says, you guys getting back into the back to school spirit yet? No. Is there that this year?
So this week we went and got the kids Chromebooks, like because the school district has Chromebooks for the students with all the stuff already on there. So we picked those up. And then we got Caleb scheduled today for yesterday for his classes.
And he has 2 classes at the same time.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's like second semester or something. Maybe.
Or I wonder if it's like on Tuesdays you do one and...
Well, it said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for each of them.
Oh.
Because I figured because they had the same thing for health and PE, so I figured that was like one semester, other semester.
Right.
So.
So anyway, I was like, are there any academic things on here?
Well, because there was drama, music, PE. Yeah, because he has like drama, music, PE, health. Then he has a writing class. Then also he has a reading class. So there's 2 English classes.
I love that those are split.
And then he's got math, social studies, science, and there's a flex. And I don't know what the flex is. I'm like, hopefully it can be like Spanish or something, or is it just like?
It's kind of weird. I think that lack of a language class is what and that kind of stinks because he did really well in Spanish last year. I also don't like that they don't have geography. I'm hoping that'll come.
Geography is based 7th grade in the state of Illinois. That's why I had it last year.
Oh, I think geography.
And no one has. And then they don't have geography again until they take an elective in high school if they want to take it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So I was talking to the boys, and if they don't have Spanish, I'm going to teach them Spanish in the afternoons because Liam's. So right now, Caleb's school is online through the first quarter. I'm going to guess it'll be the first half of the year at least. So.
Yeah.
We'll have that. And so
there's no back to school spirit. That was a really long rabbit trail we just went down. We don't really have any back to school spirit because how can you have any when you're not like going out to buy trapper keepers and pens and whatever, you know? Not that they have real trapper keepers anymore.
She's really bitter about that.
I am. I really think that Mead 5-star needs to bring back the actual trapper keepers.
I'm sure there is like for like $400 or something like that.
You can get old ones. I've looked. You can find them on eBay and stuff, but they're like hundreds of dollars. Seriously, which in my mind they're worth. I just am not going to pay that. So. I'll let somebody else do it.
What's up, Ryan and Mo? Good to see you. Hey, Derek. Good to see you, buddy. So, Mary Ellen's, her niece's son went to preschool for 2 days, and they were sent home, now in quarantine. The little guy has to be tested after 10 days. Yeah. That was one of the reasons we switched our kids to one of the schools this year, because they did have the online option. And earlier in the summer, it sounded like the whole year could be online, which would be fine with me. But now they're like, oh well, the first quarter, and so it just keeps switching what we're doing.
Right.
So hopefully, at least we'll get the first half of the year online, so we can have that done and see where we go from there. But yeah, Rebecca Point saying my back to school morale is low. I love trapper keepers. Rebecca, we need to invest in those for all your students. Be like, look, you all need this. Turn in your trapper keeper.
I think it would be a good sell for them. And I'm going to imagine a lot of stuff isn't selling this year because so many people are actually not going to school, physically in school. So, yeah.
So I like how Derek learned European geography from a video game. And that's one of the things that's cool is if you get a video game that's actually like legit, like they want to be serious. I was contacted by a video game company to do voiceovers, but nothing's ever come of it since, like that was last week or 2 weeks ago. But they're like super realistic. Like, no, we will give you, because they have like historians doing their stuff, and so hopefully something will come of this.
That would be really cool.
They didn't write me back this week, so I'm guessing they're ghosting me. So oh well.
That sucks because I've always wanted to do, like that's one of my weird dream jobs is I wanted to be a voice for a cartoon. So guess what? Mark and Terry Finley are getting together today with Nick and Brian and Ronnie. So 5 in one place together. I think that's very cool. I'm excited for you guys.
Is it at Buc-ee's?
which should be at Buc-ee's, or Dairy Queen with blue dipped cones.
True that. Or the spaghetti ice place, or
spaghetti ice, or you should just make spaghetti ice. Wouldn't that
just
be cool?
take the press with you, Mark, just in case.
Goodness. Yes, the Trapper Keeper with the dolphin, right there with you. I think I had one of those one year too. Yeah. And Pila says, sadly, I have to go to college next week with all these cases rising in my area, and they're only going to get worse when school starts.
Yeah, so the U of I, they've been testing. They're doing 10,000 tests. They're I don't know. The students were coming in. You had to get tested, then go to your dorm, and then you had to stay there until your results came. And they're getting them back within like 4 or 5. Like I get mine back in like 4 or 5 hours. Some are even quicker. But the FDA just approved there. It's the spit test, and you just go. And I have to do it twice a week. Like I have to go later today to do mine, my second one this week. Because if you're going to be on campus, you have to do that. If you're not on campus, it's not it's like one of those like if you're going to be on campus, you got to get tested at least 4 days, like 4 days before or less. So that's kind of like a thing.
And you have to, so you kind of have to do it 2 days a week.
Yeah, so I drive in. I do usually Tuesday because they've given people like slots. Like here's your preferred day, but you can go anytime you want. So I figured I'm going to go after this because I figure students will be sleeping. They won't be going at 11 or whatever. So.
Oh, but people are not like a lot of the houses and dorms have quarantine rules where like you move in, you get your test, and you stay in your room until you get your test back, right? And some people aren't abiding by that.
Yeah, that happened.
And then their stuff's coming back as positive, and they've just been running around their frat or sorority or whatever, and their dorm, whatever, and they're making other people sick. So I expect those numbers to go up at least for a little while. I think that. I think it'll get better.
Yeah,
and that's the thing used to it, and you're not like so excited to see people you haven't seen in literally 5 months.
Yeah, and I think, and the thing is with all the testing, once you start testing, then you can get people know if they are sick, not sick. Then because I think like every university, like I think ours will have there'll be a spike because hey, it just started. But then once the testing goes, then it'll come back down. So I'm going to guess by October, it's like when we had the other stuff, just takes time to come back down. Just hope everybody's okay.
Yeah. Derek said, I learned European geography vis-a-vis.
That's where we started talking about the voiceover thing.
Oh, it is? I didn't catch that's why. But through a computer game. That's pretty funny. Liam has been stuck on history. He's watching Horrible History on Hulu.
It took us a while to get him off the dang Minecraft videos.
Yeah, praise God we don't have that anymore.
Well, no, there's still stuff.
Oh,
that's why I got him a different game yesterday because there's a game Caleb got on our old iPad and like, I remember this game, so he found it on Xbox and got it. And so we got Liam I bought Liam that game yesterday for his Switch. I'm like, oh yeah, just get off the dang Minecraft stuff.
Something different.
So, but yeah, he's been going through Horrible Histories because Liam will get into something and he goes deep into it. So I'm like, hey, if I get you the history stuff, maybe we can do some fun stuff there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Rob. So hopefully the video game people get back to me and I can do the voiceover. Have that. They're like, I just have another thing on there. Voiceover talent. YouTube sensation.
You're just a talent.
Oh, baby.
At everything you do here.
That's right. It's simply Jocelyn's Wolters After Dark.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, have you ever considered being an actor, Mark? So when I was a kid, I wanted to be one. So I did like community theater, kid children's theater, stuff like that in high schools, in the musicals and plays. And I actually got out of that because I was going to be an exchange student, and so I wanted to graduate high school early, so I'd be done with high school when I did the exchange year. And so I had to drop out of choir and all the music stuff and take microbiology and zoology, and then I had to take a trigonometry class at the local community college.
He had to. I don't know why he had to, because I didn't have to take any of those.
Well, I wanted to take those classes, and and you have to have like 4 sciences. And you usually do 1 science a year, so I had to double up on the science. And it turns out the microbiology zoology class from some of my favorite classes I had in high school. Mm-hmm. The teacher we had was fantastic.
I liked science class. It was just the math that I couldn't get past.
Yeah, I hear you. Troy, hello and good morning. I hope you're doing well, my friend.
Good morning.
Let's see.
Oh, wow, just boom.
We're still fine.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Wolters World could be a fun video game. Yes, I could see one, and
that could be.
And I think Sue's question about what's a city you could eat through, that could be the game. We eat through the city like a Pac-Man game. Whoever gets the most calories wins.
Well, first comes to mind like Paris, and then Rome, and Ecuador. I'd like the food, or Ecuador and Peru, and Brazil. Like, I'm going by country now and not just towns. But
Bahia, Salvador da Bahia. I would go there that's a good eating city in Brazil.
Yeah.
All the dinner.
I feel like you could kind of do it by country, and because they're so like regional. Why does this screen look so dark, or is it just
because I turned the light off? Because the light was shining
through the mirror or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll open this.
It's okay. Whatever you want to do. Rebecca says, we're teaching online 4 days, mornings only, using the rest of the day for advisory and small groups. We've worked in online social time for the kids. Oh, that's good. It's nice that there's a little bit of social time for them, because I think that is what kids are going to be lacking a lot. Like I feel like that's something that's been really hard for our kids too.
Yeah, and if I think we have another 6 months or the whole year is online, one thing I'm worried about is when you come back to fall 2021, when you have kids that have been basically 18 months without social settings. Man, I feel sorry for those teachers.
Troy says, I've watched several of your videos, and I've noticed that Jocelyn has a connection to Savannah, Georgia. I was stationed there for 3 years. Thank you for your service. I still miss Savannah, and it's been over 30 years. That's because Savannah gets into your bones. I lived there for almost 10 years, which is the longest I've lived anywhere, so that's saying something. And I didn't intend to leave, except that there was this guy, and he's sitting next to me. So I guess I left for the right reasons, but I'm not really. So yeah, so I went to SCAD, and like I said, I was planning on staying forever. So
yeah, Liz, well, I never would have thought about trying to graduate high school early. Nice job, Mark. Thank you. That's one thing is when I was even after high school, I had people that asked me like, "Hey, what do you think about graduating high school early?" I'm like, I graduated early, then was an exchange student for a year, so it was like a fun gap year kind of thing. But honestly, I usually tell kids or students, I'm like, look, just go through high school's a fun time. Why get yourself into doing all the work early? Take your time, enjoy it. Have if you got all your credits, then take some fun stuff. Take the classes you never thought you'd take. Like take a French class or take an art class or these other classes you never really thought about. I mean, like microbiology or zoology. See, because I would have had all the credit. I still would have done a bunch of AP classes. So.
I've been looking for an oil painting class, like the one I took in Paris last year. And actually, that guy does them. He teaches portraiture in Thailand half the year, and the other half of the year, when the weather's good, he's teaching en plein air landscapes in Paris. And I would like to take a class with him, but he doesn't do them online.
Yeah.
I need to suggest that. I wonder if he would do it, but
I'm gonna guess not. Well, there's still because he's working because he probably could still do it because it's a small group. It's outside,
right?
So you could. I mean, you wear a mask. They're in a group. They'd be fine.
Well, but I mean, he could do like a Zoom class.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know.
Like,
but I'm saying he might not have to stop working in his thing because he's doing outside, small group. And so it's easy to social distance that.
Right.
So. Hey, Christian Valdez. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Christian. Good morning. So Scorpio Sue says, sorry, I'm trying to read two things at the same time.
When you're traveling, do you research where to eat or just fly by the seat of your pants, or do you ask for recommendations?
So we'll research the things to eat. Rarely do we research the specific restaurants, simply because we find that like a lot of the things where it's recommended restaurants online and stuff, we have done that in the past, but generally speaking, we find that the food is not like super amazing. It's just that people have kind of jumped on a bandwagon with it.
Yeah.
And we find what we do, generally speaking, is we try to find mom and pop places. We ask locals for their recommendations, especially if we're like looking for a particular dish. Like if you want porco prato in Lisbon, and you just stop a grandma on the street and say, hey, Scupa, I would like to know this, blah, 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 she'll tell you where to get the best, in her opinion. And so, like, that makes, I don't know, it makes it a little more authentic sort of experience.
And what we'll do also, like, the ride in, because now with the four of us, when we arrive in at an airport, it's become, I mean, it's just cheaper to take a taxi a lot of times than doing all the public transport for 4 adult tickets, because they're all like over the little kid age. Mm-hmm. And I'll just talk. I mean, I'll talk to the taxi driver the whole way in, like, hey, what should we eat? Where should we go? And a lot of times, I mean, I remember like Kansas City, I was talking to the guy, and we ended up together at the same barbecue place later that, like, Arthur Bryant's for lunch. Yeah, and so he gave me another ride afterwards.
That's cool.
So we do have that. So Euro went on our first food tour last year. Would love to go on another one. Yeah, food tours are fun. I actually taken my students on a few where we do like the market. Like in Rome, there's one you can do. You go through the market, you try all the food that they have there and all this kind of stuff. They explain it to you, and then you go make your own pizza kind of stuff. That was kind of a fun one the students enjoyed. We've done it in Costa Rica. We made food there. We've done a few.
We've taken cooking. Well, Morocco with
Morocco
Chef Ilham. By the way, if you are interested in Moroccan food at all, you can find her on YouTube, and she's got really great recipes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just look for like Food in Morocco, Wolters World, and she's in the video with Jocelyn, and then there's a link to her channel in there. So there is that.
Mr. Chills a lot says most of the classes in high school are a waste of time, I think. I really have to disagree with that based upon schools. I went to 3 high schools, and I would say in one of them, I felt like it was a waste, and the other 2 I didn't at all. And it really, I think it all depends on the teachers you've got. And, sometimes there was a class or 2 that didn't feel like I was learning much. But sometimes that was just because I'd been to 3 schools and I'd already gathered enough of that information or whatever, so.
Yeah, Rob from Trip XDC on the food tour stuff is like, they're the hardest of all the tours to execute well, but when they're done right, they are amazing. Mm-hmm. It is true. Like, that's why sometimes you're just worried, is it going to be worth the food? It's like when they do the pub tours, I'm like, you got to have something else that goes along. There's got to be a common theme that ties it together. And then you got to make sure you're keeping up with things as restaurants change, food change. I mean, one of the restaurants, one of the 3 places we get food from, their chef just left, and their food, like, we used to get their chicken wings, which were amazing. Now they're just burnt. So now they're just burnt pieces of charcoal, and you're like, I guess we're done here. Yeah. So you got to be. That's why you got always. And Robin can tell you, like, any tour you're on, you always got to be like constantly watching what's going on if you need to make some adjustments. Yeah. So. Oh, but Nick P just pulled into a Buc-ee's in Texas.
Nice,
so
Nick.
That's good.
Very cool. And Darian's on Magnificent Germany with Darian. Good
buddy.
Morning.
So Brianna has a question. Thoughts on booking travel to Europe for summer 2021? Do you think it's too early or even worth it with the uncertainty with COVID?
Well, you're pretty far out to be booking generally anyway. Like, 11 months is about as far out as you can book. With airline tickets,
but hotels are still there. I mean, if you're whatever you do book, make sure they have a return, like a refund policy, not we'll give you credit policy, because if it's still going on. Because right now, if you're booking anything now, you're not going to get like, oh no, I didn't know COVID was going to still be here. It doesn't matter. COVID's out there,
right.
So you got to make sure that you check those policies and do that. And and it could be you get things set up. You have the hotels booked and those things, and you're just waiting to buy the plane tickets. Because the plane ones, that's one that they'll be like, oh, you can do the change fee for $250 or something. But I don't know. I think a lot will depend how this fall goes. If like with schools coming back, if there's a huge spike when schools come back, things are going to shut down even longer. But I don't know. I'm my optimisticness of myself is I'm hoping for our summer 2020 we'll be back in Europe, and because we're hopefully gonna be going for that wedding that got postponed and some other stuff. So that's our hope. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is our buddy Mark on here will tell you, like, planning sometimes is the fun part about it, and he has to plan another trip because his Boston stuff got canceled.
So good morning, Francis. And Francis says no more Wolters World emoji. That's because we're on Simply Jocelyn.
Yeah, so we're over here on this one just to have a nice little morning chat. Because I find that when we do it on Jocelyn's channel, there's a lot less people, like random people come on. a lot less trolls come on. It's kind of like when we do our patrons and members only one, where it's like a chill crew. Can we just sit back and you don't have to be like doing all the like like banned from channel or hide from channel.
Not as much moderating over here.
Yeah, because we had a few drinks last night, so we want to make it easy.
I need a quiet day.
Yeah, and then today we put out a new video, the mistakes of Prague.
On Mark's channel.
On our channel.
Oh,
so we have that out on that one. So, but we just thought we did this one. And again, for those of you who don't know, tomorrow, Sunday at 9 a.m. Chicago time, we'll be back with another live feed to talk through stuff because some people don't know. And that one we'll announce on the Wolters World channel. This one I announced it on Twitter, and
tomorrow's is going to be on my channel also.
Yeah, we'll do that in both. So we'll announce it because this one I just had on Twitter and Facebook and Patreon. I when we talked about it, but then tomorrow's I'll put it on the Wolters World saying, "Hey, come here," so it'll be some more people. So this way we can have our nice little chit chats. So
yeah, good morning, Chris. So a few people have remarked about the food stuff. I think it was Peter said, just because it's authentic doesn't mean that your taste buds will like it, and he cited haggis. I'm with you. Although
for the haggis balls. Small portion sizes. That's the way to go.
Haggis does not actually include actual balls, though.
No.
But anyway, I did finally have haggis that I liked, but it was homemade, and so that made a difference. It was, our friend who used to be our pastor in Lisbon,
who looks like David Tennant from Doctor Who. So much.
He made us haggis when we went to visit them in Edinburgh several years ago, but. You're right. There are things that you're just not going to like. And then Derek was saying that he really liked pub crawls because they were some of the best times he never remembered.
Well, I also say it's
so if you're going for food at a pub on a pub crawl, maybe Rob was suggesting do it early in the day, and I have to agree with that. A lot of food tours in the evening end up being let's get drunk and party, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But if you really want to learn about the food, you go earlier in the day, like late morning, early afternoon. Those are some of the best. I took a really good one in Maine. What town is that? Carrie lives there.
Wasn't Portland?
Yeah, it was Portland, Maine. Really good stuff. And actually, as I'm sitting there eating my sticky rice, this girl was like, I don't know how we got talking about it, but she was like, I know your husband. And she had watched Mark's videos, like she watched, I think, all our China stuff, because she had been living in Thailand or Laos, and then she'd gone to China, for a visit or whatever. So that was an interesting thing. That anyway.
Scroll up. There's a bunch of questions.
I see. There's a pile of questions up here, y'all.
I'm gonna make myself some more tea to rehydrate my brain cells.
Yes, I know. Francis has 400 in Delta E credit, and I'm not sure how or when to use it. Probably between DTW and JFK for transatlantic flights. Yeah, you can just use your e-credit to take off some of the price of a bigger trip. And Francis, you can do it through the app, but if you haven't done it much before, you might just want to call them. They have really good customer service. Just call and talk to them, and that should be good. So, Darian says, have you ever scrambled eggs in a pot? After seeing it done on YouTube, I tried it, and the eggs came out really fluffy. I have not done that. I've seen it done. I've never tried it. I typically whip mine with, you can imagine, a teaspoon of Duke's mayonnaise, and that makes things really fluffy. But I also use a whisk. I did just recently get a saucier pan, so it's like any regular saucepan, but instead of having straight and square sides, it's really rounded so that your spoon can get in there. And I think that would be kind of perfect because the whisk would get right through that middle bit. I think it would be a really good thing. Anyway, so, all right. Oh, Scorpio Sue is a list person. Sue, my husband makes lists. Yeah, I was waiting for that. My husband makes lists that are like 400 items long. And I'm like, if you could just make a list that didn't overwhelm me, I might actually get something done. He's like, I have all this stuff to do for you. And I'm like, well, there's like a gazillion things. And my ADD can't handle that. So give me like 5 and I'll get them done. I'm good with lists too, but my lists are like, what can I realistically get done in a day? Not the rest of my life. Like Mark's. Goodness. Hello, gals. It's nice to see you. Hey, Mark, will you do the online classes on YouTube Live on Professor's channel like you did when COVID started? Mark, you are doing your live classes occasionally, right?
I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, he's going to come back, and Eric can talk to you about that. So we'll get to that in a minute. Where in Europe would you go if you had 2 weeks over Christmas? Karen Mack, my answer would be Germany and Austria. Those and maybe the Alsace region of France. France is good too, but the Christmas markets in Germany and Austria cannot be beat as far as I'm concerned. So those would be my things.
That would be my answer too, by the way.
Yep, I knew you.
Not that I'm only agreeing with her because I love her and she's amazing.
And because I'm the smartest woman
in the
room.
I like how you always move this whenever.
That's because I can't see. You always have it so far back that I'm having trouble reading it.
I see. So Eric Svart, so how things will go for my classes this semester. So I've already filmed all the videos for the class this time. Last year, or in the spring, I didn't have everything filmed, so we had to do some live things. Whereas now, my students, like, tomorrow I'll send out an email saying, with a list, here's the videos you got to watch for this week, here's your quiz. All that will be coming out. So that's already on there. But what I'll be doing is, I'll be doing live on Tuesday nights. Usually I'll do like my office hours, so I'll answer student questions. And if we're going to do, we'll do an example of a model, like a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, like we'll do that live, so then students can see how those things are done. So we can talk about that, but I won't have the lectures. Probably what I'll have is, for those of you that saw the social media marketing lectures, there might be some of those like in December, January. I know I'll do that because I won't have all that. I've been doing a summer or a 4-week winter course on social media marketing. I don't know if I'll get them all filmed before. So it'll be on there. So there won't be as many live things because everything's already set up. All the videos are already out there for that class. So it's going to be a little bit different. So.
Briar Fryer says, good morning. Interested in hearing about any of your most unique grocery shopping experiences while shopping abroad, if you have any to share. So if y'all don't know this already, I love grocery stores everywhere in the world. I think that they're some of the coolest things because we all have to do it. Everyone on this planet has to eat, and so it's a cultural thing that we can all relate to. And
really, it helps you understand it really is like you see how people live, what they really eat when you go there, and you'll see some things like, oh, like in Spain, I'm like, Oscar Mayer bacon, like sometimes it's kind of a surprise.
So some of the most unique, I'm going to say, generally speaking, like living and traveling in Europe, a lot of the markets, because like I would go to the fish market up the street from our house in Lisbon, and I would get my fish. Instead of getting it, I could get it at the grocery, but why? Why not get it like off a boat from this morning or whatever? Like you went really early in the morning when the fishermen got back, and that's when you got your fish. Like I would get my lulash. What are lulash? Squid. I would get squid there often, and it was fresh. Any other squid that I had gotten in the grocery store had been frozen, and frozen squid is really not awesome. So there's that.
Get the ink out?
Yeah, we had to get the ink out yourself.
One time we didn't.
There was one. It was only just the one that we didn't.
Yeah.
I think it was the first one we ever cooked because I'd never had it where it wasn't. Yeah. Anyway, so and then let's see. China. Wowzer. So. I went to because we stayed in China for like almost 2 months. I went often to the grocery store, and one, I can't read anything. As like the one time I thought I was buying non-aerosol deodorant, and it was bug spray, and let me tell you how that feels on freshly shaved armpits. So there were those funny moments, but the fresh fruits and vegetables, when those came in, especially in higher end neighborhoods in Beijing, women were like physically fighting over like what it was dragon fruit. I remember that.
That's no messing around there.
You know, I look at the dragon fruit and I'm like, well, that one is brighter and it looks like it
looks dragonier,
right? But these two women are like screaming, fighting over this other one. I'm like, well, I guess mine's not very good. I didn't pick a good one. But they're like going back and forth, and then other women are like, oh no, this, and like that was something you would never see at the Kroger or the Publix down the road, right? So that was a thing. Also, small markets, small grocery stores in Beijing were interesting to me because the way they packed everything in, like literally floor to ceiling, and I have no idea how you were supposed to get the stuff at the top because it wasn't just like extras of things up there. It was, like new products. It wasn't like backups for stuff, so there was no reaching it. I don't know how they did that. But that was they had the most narrow little aisles, but it was cool. And not knowing what I was picking up, I would go to the spices and I'm like, I don't know, might be oregano, like because the pictures may not be indicative of what you're getting. So that was fun. I love that.
So I want to say hi. A few more people popped on. Alan, good to see you on here, and Karen. Well, you talked about Karen. Stewart, black pudding, berry black pudding, hot dogs and mustard. I like black pudding
with hot dogs and mustard.
Yeah.
All together?
I'd eat that.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's actually the hot dogs that are throwing me off more than the black pudding. In Bogota, I love the bakery area of the grocery. They slice your bread for you in this cool machine. First time I saw that.
Oh, I know the exact machine you're talking about, Chris.
Yep.
It's cool. The first time I saw it might have been Argentina, because when I was in the bakeries in Scandinavia when I lived there, I would just get the bread and we'd walk out. But that was in, I was in college when I was actually going to get stuff, and I'm like, oh, like that's so cool. And I think that's when like Saul was out or something. Like, oh, I could see them using that in a, like the mafia taking out somebody for snitching or something, with those things. But
don't be giving anybody
I
ideas
know,
there,
I'm
Mark.
sorry. We do not condone
that.
Stitches getting stitches.
Oh goodness. Let's see.
Dan, I'll do my best to be there tonight at 7 Eastern for your live feed on Magnificent Germany. So Mark Finley, if you're still on here, so Mark and I have been debating these Logitech Brio webcams, and I was using it this morning setting this up, and actually I felt that the camera that's on the Surface that we're using right now is actually a better picture than the Brio one, so I ended up just going with this one instead. So I don't know if Mark's still in there.
Euro says, having dragon fruit in China and other parts of Asia ruined me because U.S. dragon fruit is significantly inferior in quality. I cannot disagree with that statement at all.
It's like so many things.
There's like no flavor when you get dragon fruit in the U.S. It's fun because it's like, it's pretty and it's got a cool texture.
Yeah, but you're buying it for the cool texture. You don't buy it for the flavor. Whereas there,
right? Or you buy it for the color and the the way it looks on a platter or something. But there's flavor over there, right? And for me, one of the big things too is lychee. You can get fresh lychee over there, and I could eat like my weight in that. And here we only get canned, and it's still good. But again, it's not the same, right?
Turk's Head, that's the beer in Turks and Caicos. It's in the Caribbean island of the Caribbean.
They have great names for each of the beers, too.
I can't think off the top of my head.
I can't hear it. Lean forward. Is there anything on here? There's not. But if you go to Turks and Caicos, they've got some fun names for their beer. Instead of like, I don't know, Pilsner, blah blah blah, right? They've got, it's like I'll see you soon or whatever. Like I need an I'll see you soon. I've got some on my Instagram from when we were there. I took some pictures of them. Not that I was drinking them because I don't like beer, but
I was.
Stuart Ross says, "What is dragon fruit?" Stuart, it is a bright. Usually they're about like they're big fruit. It's got a bright pink coating. It's like a thick but still pliable. I don't know how to describe the skin of it because I don't know. It's unlike anything else, but it's almost waxy. And then off that bright pink, it'll have like these shoots of green, and it's really beautiful.
That's like a Pinterest version of it, kind of. You see it.
Yeah, and then the inside is white with little tiny black specks that look almost like poppy seeds. Did you find any of the Turk's Head beers?
Oh, like one was Island Hopping IPA.
Yeah.
Or so it was fun things, and they had when we were there, they had a bunch of like limited edition stuff, so it was kind of fun. And it was like they renamed it on the can. It was like, this is what it is, but we're gonna call it this now, and so it was fun. It was a fun time.
Travel in the World says, what is your recommended 10-day Texas road trip?
Houston, South Padre, Austin, and San Antonio. Make sure you hit Schlitterbahn, the water park.
Yeah.
And a Buc-ee's on along the way.
I would probably agree with that.
And Texas is a big place, so that's going to be...
It's definitely...
That'll take up your time.
Yeah, because it's a long drive, right?
Yep.
You can... Euro says you can get fresh lychee in the United States at the Asian markets. It's seasonal, very seasonal, also very expensive. That's funny. I've never seen it in any of our Asian markets, and I go to the Asian market once a week for the most part. I mean, before COVID, before quarantine, I probably only went like once a month. But now I'm just sort of like relying on a bunch of the things that they have there. Where I particularly go to a Korean-owned one. We've got one that is Chinese-owned. There's two Korean-owned ones, and then we've got some that are just sort of generic Asian, like it's not related to any particular country. I end up at the Korean one a lot, partially because they have like a reward system, and actually if you spend $75, you get a little pack of free rubber gloves.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I was like,
that's why
do you keep getting these? I'm like, where are these rubber gloves coming from? Now I understand.
So I am like addicted. Speaking of Korean things, this gochujang. I think I'm saying that correctly. It's a pepper paste. It looks like tomato sauce. It looks like tomato paste. Sure. And I put a teaspoon of that. So I always put mayonnaise like in my eggs if I'm making scrambled eggs. But now I've been putting this hot spooze. Yeah. Oh, there's no other mayonnaise, but Duke's, right? You understand that. But now I'm putting this pepper paste in. Oh, it's amazing. I'm actually kind of putting it on all sorts of food right now. I'm going through one of those phases, and it's very tasty. So, hey Blaine, it's nice to see you. There you go. Gochujang. It's some yummy stuff. One of my girlfriends who is of Korean descent, she was born here. She's first generation American, but she is going to hopefully come over and make beef bulgogi with me. I made it, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Made my own sauce and all that. It was really great, but I want her to do it with me on the channel because I think it would be really fun.
And so we got, and then you get, your frog legs. How about frog legs?
Yeah, you guys, I found frog legs this week.
And she didn't film it, but then it was honestly the best frog legs we've had in a long time.
Yeah, because the last couple times we've had them in Paris
they were greasy nastiness. This was nice. Like they looked like
perfect. They were really, really good. Part of it was that I got good frog legs.
Yeah, and even Caleb was like, those are good. Like, he's like, Mom did a really good job. Those are better than last ones. I'm like, yeah, you should probably tell her that. But,
right.
14-year-olds don't do that.
No, but he was happy, and that's important. So, I've tried red dragon fruit instead of the white one as well. Highly recommend it. Some hotels ban it because it stains. And then you have durian for the smell. So the durian, that fruit is actually outlawed in some countries because the smell is so bad.
I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, it smells, I don't know what. I'm assuming it's worse than poo. But it's supposed to be really, really bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
People, it's maybe banned in the cities and you have to eat it in the country. But if it smells that bad, then why do you want? How can you eat something that smells that bad? I don't get that.
Well, in some regions, it's called the king of fruits.
Well, what does it taste like if it smells so awful?
I don't know.
Anyway, all right. So, do you recommend booking hotels despite not having flights yet? Planning a trip next summer. Tyler, generally speaking, we do not ever book our hotels until we have our flights. Simply because, one, it's easier. I mean, if your flight changes or something like that, I don't know. I don't think that's a good way to go because you may not be able to get a flight on the day you want, especially with the way things are going right now. A lot of flights and different legs have been canceled, and so it's taking longer to get to places, or it's a little more, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
So I would not book a hotel until you have booked the flight. But you can usually buy the flight 11 months out, generally speaking.
And hotels usually get at least 2 years out. Or if you're going to be doing that's going to be an event like an Olympics kind of thing, the states are set more years out. They might already have some of the stuff set up. So there's that. So KMP, thank you. Best channel ever, babe. Good job.
Oh,
thanks for doing the live chats from Tampa, Florida. Nice. We've been there a few times.
Lots of times. We have family in that whole area. My sister, my aunt, my great aunt, my cousins. We have a bunch of people down there.
Yeah, France's food is truly the universal language of the world. That's one of the nice things. You can always talk about food. It's like, and the thing is, don't say what's better. Just say, hey, what do you like and stuff, and not get people talking about food. I mean, it's just a nice.
Because it's so subjective. I mean, it's like art. There are things like Peter was saying earlier, like just because it's authentic doesn't mean it's good. And he cited haggis, and I actually finally liked haggis. It's like when I
you had to get it done right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is,
well, and I had it in places that were well reputed by locals to be really authentic, and I still thought it was awful. So
yeah, it's kind of like some of these food. It's kind of like the food challenges. Some of these restaurants do food challenges just to have a stupid food challenge, like the 19 thing burger. You're like, obviously it's not about taste. It's not about. It's like when you watch some of the food channels on Instagram and TikTok and all these things. They have like their 30-second video, and it's always got to have a lot of cheese so they can do the poll. And so you see the gooey cheese, and that's like a thing people like to see. But it doesn't mean it's got to taste any good.
It doesn't taste good necessarily.
And that's the thing. And so...
Like Caleb's cloud bread.
Yeah, it looked cool, but it tasted...
But the texture was not good because they used baking soda instead of cream of tartar. And that's what I was trying to get Caleb to understand. And that's where that whole thing came from. But...
So
gals say, simply Jocelyn, what are the travel plans? I heard a road trip with the family, and you also have a trip coming up. So yeah, I have a trip coming up. I have tickets to the UK that I was supposed to go on a book tour. Not a book tour. I'm not on a book tour. I was going to take a literary trip with some girlfriends, and they were coming and going throughout it. We had different kind of schedules, but we were going to have tea at Highclere Castle and then go to the to Bath and do the Jane Austen Festival, and I was going to go up and do Shakespeare and blah blah blah. Like there was just a bunch of stuff, right? It was a 10-day trip. And I now have to quarantine for 14 days, so I'm not going. I wish to God that like I could manage it, but with Liam's passport stuff and things, we're just not going to be able to do it. So yes, we're talking about a road trip out west. We'll see what happens. Some of it has to do with the kids' schooling. So the kids have to be online for a certain time period every day. And fortunately, theirs meet up pretty closely. So what we could do is like drive on the weekends and then stay in like the house that we rent or whatever. I think that's what we'll do. We'll just go stay a couple weeks somewhere, because then we can still kind of keep ourselves a little bit isolated. I don't want to go spreading germs around, although we'll get tested before we go, but I'd rather just not, I don't know, still just have a little bit of self-isolation from others, or not isolation, insulation. How about that? Um, and then we'll be able to explore and stuff after the kids are done. So that's sort of the idea. We're thinking like Miami. We're thinking Wyoming, Montana, and somehow I just put those two things together and got Miami. I wish Mark were here to make fun of me. Y'all can go ahead and do that anyway. So, does anyone have any recommendations for restaurants or activities in Cincinnati? Not the typical stuff like Skyline Chili. Somebody answer means to travel on that one, because I do not. I have friends from Cincinnati, but I don't know that we've ever like paid much attention to, or we've talked much about specific food things. So, all right. But I do have one friend who does a lot of parkour there. Stuart says, my favorite meal was roast beef and roast potatoes from a rotisserie butcher in Perpignan. I don't even know where that is. Perpignan? Where is that? That was full of locals. Well, roast beef and roast potatoes are always good everywhere, right? So, Peter Payne says, durian tastes like a cross between how tires smell in the hot sun and custard. You don't need to eat that. I mean, I'll try it somewhere someday, I'm sure, but I don't know. That's not my thing. All right. Oh shoot, where'd that go? Somebody was asking about VRBO, and I want to answer that. Why would you prefer VRBO over Airbnb or Craigslist? VRBO stands for Vacation Rental by Owner. And so these are houses that are intentionally set up for vacation rentals. Airbnbs, Craigslist, they're not necessarily always specifically set up for that. It might just be someone's house. They don't necessarily have like a cleaning crew that comes in and takes care of stuff, or, somebody that you can call if something breaks down. And two, Airbnb and Craigslist, you have no like recourse if something bad goes down, really. And VRBO holds their people to a certain standard, kind of like, IHG holds each of their different hotel lines to certain standards to keep their flag. Does that make sense? So if something goes badly on VRBO, you're kind of taken care of. Chris Bates says, durian smells like dirty socks. I loved it. Had some in the Philippines. My wife, who's Filipino, hates it. Tastes like cheesecake to me. It wasn't allowed in our hotel. It's really interesting. All right, that's funny. So, hello, Thomas Reiser. It's nice to see you. Wait, it's to Thomas. I don't know. I haven't seen him on here. That's why that caught my eye, and I just didn't read it very well. Spain is a lot of fun. Oh, at Francis, and great food. Yes, I would agree with that. Mark and I, actually, we got engaged in Italy, and we were there for a few days, and we went to Spain, and that was my first time to Spain, and I had a ball. We just really enjoyed ourselves, and we ate a lot. So, no, Troy Stansel, no, nobody's eaten a live frog, and I am sorry that Uncle Sam did that to you. That is horrific. I can't do that. All right, so, travel adventures with Eric B. I'm getting worried about my trip to Vegas next week since we got 2 hurricanes out there close. Yeah, because the one, it looks like it's going to not skip over, but blow over the Florida, and will blow over Florida and hit Alabama and Louisiana and stuff or something is what I was watching. So yeah, you've got 2. I mean, 2020 is just, I don't know. It is something else this year, isn't it? So I hope that you can get out. Maybe you should just take a drive a few days early, and drive away and then get on a plane somewhere else and fly. I don't know if that's possible, but Francis says, I love Edinburgh and I really, really want to go to Cordoba in Spain. I love the history there and the architecture, and Andalusia in general would be breathtaking. It is. Francis, when I was in school, we spent probably, I had 3-hour-long classes. So we probably spent about 6 hours in Andalusia just talking about it's just so much, and you should totally go. And the food there is great. I found that it was pretty easy to get around everywhere too. We never rented a car. We were able to take trains and things fairly well, so there's that. Marks, you're funny. I love that you're talking to me this way. Can't wait to have Hofbrauhaus. Oh wait, I can't have Hofbrauhaus anymore in the U.S. Went 3 times to the one in Chicago. Was disappointed every time. Yeah, Hofbrauhaus is not amazing, but I'm going to tell you where we had really good, authentic German food was in Tianjin, China. I mean, like we were walking, and Liam was 2 when we went to China, and he wouldn't eat anything but plain rice, occasionally some fruit, maybe a noodle here or there, but generally speaking, for 7, almost 8 weeks, he lived on nothing but white rice. But we went to Tianjin, and we see this Hofbrauhaus looking thing. It's not part of the Hofbrauhaus group, but it looked just like it. And
I mean, exactly like it. I mean, it was amazing.
It was pretty incredible. So we went in, and Liam ate. It was good. I mean, it was really authentic. And Liam ate his weight in sausages that day. I think he had a half-meter brat, and literally the kid wasn't even a half-meter tall.
He had the Nuremberger platter. Mm-hmm. And then he ate mine, and then we got him another one. So he had 2 things.
He ate like nobody's business. That was the one day he really ate
in China.
But the kid loves German food. Like he's so your kid, just so your child.
Kid, I
know. And like anyone couldn't tell by looking at him. My lord. All right.
So yeah, it was weird because when I was hearing you talk, we're only like 20 seconds difference, 30 seconds difference from here to the live thing. Yeah. Usually it's weird because sometimes, because I was on those I was typing on here, it was interesting to hear like what was coming on this versus what we're saying live. And usually it's about a minute or 2 different. And this time it's only like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So
hello, Michael Mon and Carmen. I hadn't seen your name on there. Oh, I hadn't seen Slim Mama on there either. So
hello. Mama just came on to say hi to Michael Mom, and she ran popped off.
All right. So let's see. What do we got here?
Let's see. Pittsburgh seems to be a very popular place.
I like Pittsburgh. It's popular for a reason. So the gals say, right now we're looking at the Northern Lights in Alaska this fall since we didn't make Norway and Finland in the spring. I can't get Trace on board for the UK yet. All right, so we're going to leave our spouses at home, and we're just going to go together because I can't get mine on board either. So, Melinda, we're going. I have 10-day tickets. And I would love to see, I want to see the Northern Lights. That's like a big thing for me.
I know. Son of Thomas More. Shut up, Mark.
Shut up, Mark. Everybody
too early for drinking today. There was too much drinking last night. Oh.
Wasn't that bad.
We had a good time though.
Yeah, well, I made my
espresso martinis.
Yeah, no,
not espresso old fashions.
Espresso old fashions, and
which will be coming out in October on your drinks thing.
One of my favorite cocktails of all time is an espresso old fashioned, like coffee and bourbon.
See, the thing is, since her cocktails come out, we filmed this stuff for Friday, so we have a cocktail that will be coming out at least through next May, every Friday. So on the ones she didn't say, welcome to Cocktail Friday or whatever, maybe I can sneak some of those in during the week for some earlier ones. But
yeah, and speaking of, Darian would like to know if I'd ever consider making a homemade glue vine for my channel. Yep, so we're gonna do glue vine and we're gonna do wassail, which in my mind are very similar things, but they are different in their execution. So, and I will probably give some ideas on some good glue vine brands to buy because there are some really good ones. Hint, during the holidays, go to Aldi because Aldi is a German company and they tend to have the very best glue vine if your Aldi sells alcohol, because some don't. And I didn't realize that. I thought they all had wines, but not Aldi.
And Aldi will have basically original glue vine, and they'll have one with cherry. I like the one with cherry. And sometimes we'll even put a shot of cherry liqueur in there too.
And I like to have a shot of amaretto in mine rather than the cherry sometimes. When I'm feeling kind of like I need to be a little sweeter, which I don't love sweet foods and drinks generally, but that's one time I do.
Yeah, Derek and Liz are going to be in the UK. If we do, because I just want to get Liam's passport. Once we have that, then we can.
Mark is really uncomfortable with that.
Well, because my thing is, if something, I mean, we can get when we're there.
I'm going to get some coffee real quick.
Okay. Like with Liam's passport, because one of the things like UK, go do it. I'm cool with that. But for me, it was like I want to get the kids set in the online school. Let's do that. We'll do the US stuff because we're close by, and also with my job, like they're like no travel for work. Like we got permission for the first time since March that we can travel for work in the state of Illinois. We couldn't even travel in the state of Illinois for work. So now we can travel in the state of Illinois. So I don't want to, that's another thing. But with Liam's passport, because let's say we go to the UK, we ferry over the Northern Ireland, we want to pop over to Ireland, a passport issue might be something, or there's other lockdown or something else. You're like, hey, it's just better to have that. So maybe we can get there, get his passport stuff, get that back in a few months, and then maybe go, into the year, into January, and see what. It all depends on the kid's school. Because for me, I want to see how the online education is. If they're doing a good job with the online stuff, then we can do it all year. Go for it. But if I see that it's kind of like what it was last spring, where it's all this ersatz, like fly by the seat of your pants stuff. I'm like, we've had time. Like we can do a homeschooling program instead for the second half of the year. I just want to see. Like that's why I'm like really interested. I picked up Caleb's Chromebook from his middle school yesterday. And talked to some of the teachers. Teachers seemed real nice, and like, cool, let's see how it goes. And I could see that some of them were ready for this and some were not as ready, and just like everywhere, just like we all are. So I want to see how it is. Yes, Carmen, the Furzangbole, yes. So that's another thing we're going to be making. So last year we started having, we always wanted to have big Christmas parties, big Christmas open houses. We were finally here to do one this last year to start it up. And so this year we were going to make a few Christmas stalls, like Christmas market stalls, and have an outdoor one. But now with COVID, we'll see how it is, because if it's outside, maybe we can do something. But we're thinking about doing that, and that's why we want to have, like, there's Glühwein, there's Wasser, there's Feuerzeugbulle, which is another hot alcoholic drink you can get at Christmas markets in Germany. Not all of them, but it'll be a lot of places. My dad likes that a lot. He actually likes that one better than the Glühwein, and he said because it reminded him of something when he was a kid that they used to have. So
we should make Kinderpunsch.
Yeah, we got to make Kinderpunsch too. Yeah, I meant to say that. I said it in my head when I was talking about that, but it didn't come out. You all know how it is when you're having a conversation with someone and they don't realize you're not actually speaking out loud. You're like, well, I had that conversation with you in my mind. So there is that. Yeah, the where to quarantine thing, that's always a big one. Because some countries you go to the quarantines, they have to be on the government's quarantine thing, and some places like, oh, you can quarantine yourself, and we trust you to do it. But then you have things like in New Zealand, it was New Zealand or Australia, where the tourists weren't quarantining, like they said they were, but they didn't. So you got to be real careful with that. Yeah, slow mama school is what's holding us up on traveling. Yeah, that's my thing is we're not going to do any of our stuff until I want to get like a weekend of the online stuff so I can understand what's going on, the schedule and things, and then we can kind of branch out. And that's why doing like USA based stuff for this fall is something we can do. Time zones will work, all kinds of stuff. And if the kids are still online next semester, and if I'm online next semester, then it could be something that, hey, we go to the UK, then we're 5-6 hours ahead, so it'll be fine. we can just.
Derek said, question for Jocelyn. Have you thought of collaborating with barista to show how to make some fancy coffees and latte art? I'm a sucker for some good latte art. I had not thought of that because I don't drink a ton of coffee, and I'm like,
I bet if we did, we'd have a lot more followers because apparently that's like the thing to do before any like travel video now. It's like, well, we got to get our coffee. I'm like, can you just tell about the city? No, we're getting our coffee.
So that's a good idea. I don't know anyone that.
Cameron.
Ooh, Cameron total. Oh my gosh.
I'll write it right now.
So we do have a friend. He used to be a barista at the Starbucks cafe inside our Barnes and Noble. And oh my gosh, he is so much fun. And he and I would dream up stuff together. He would make up all these funny drinks, and then we got to be such good friends or good customers, whatever, that he would let me like dream things up with him, and that was really fun. So, or maybe he just made the crazy things I dreamt up, and he encouraged me. So, very
well,
cool
he would
guy.
come up, so he was fun.
He was, and he just has a great personality. He's a beautiful human being. All right.
I'm writing him right now, by the way.
Can't hide fancy. That's funny. I'm like reading everyone else's conversations that are going on right here. Rob says trip hacks DC. +1 for coffee videos. So, all right, we'll do. And Francis apparently wants the coffee videos too. So we'll definitely get together. We'll get Cam in on that and see what happens. So I just made my coffee. I got myself a Bialetti, you know, the Italian like percolator type espresso-y like things. You know what I'm talking about? I got one of those, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I brew up a few of them and then store the coffee in my fridge in a glass jar, and I just have, you know, so like this is 2 shots and some different kinds of milk and some simple syrup, and I just shake it, but it's so tasty, and I get Italian coffee, so that makes me happy. So you're like really smiling.
Yeah, because I'm writing to Cam. He's awesome, dude. The brisket, Nick says, the brisket here at Buc-ee's is freaking delicious. Not only is the brisket, so are... Oh, get that brisket sandwich for me, baby. Oh.
So are like all the things in that hot food section. There is nothing in there that we tried that we didn't like.
Yeah.
Weird, but Buc-ee's is exceptional. So, yes. Good stuff. Would you possibly do videos on how to pair wines with meals? I'm horrible at this. I do not know wine. Francis, I could totally do that. Sometimes, though, I am unconventional in my pairings. Most people, you know, and there are certain things that certainly draw out the flavor, and they complement each other and they make the other one stronger. But there are occasions where I like to go almost opposite and set the other thing off, kind of like a salty sweet thing. Every now and then that's one of my things. So, but yeah, I could totally do that. I should probably teach the right way and not my weird way. But Troy Stansel is replying to Liz at Means to Travel. Carrollton, Kentucky, General Butler State Park has beautiful overlook of the Ohio River and town, the same place that was in the movie Elizabethtown. So I can second that. That area is absolutely beautiful. We've spent some time down in that area. Do you remember we locked the baby in the thing?
Yeah.
I know y'all have heard that story, right?
That was time.
Some of our best friends, like Mark and she, when they were kids, their parents were best friends, and so they would go on holidays together. And so we have carried that tradition on. She is a very dear friend, and we love her husband. Like, all 4 of us get along really well. Our kids get along. But when Liam was a year old, we had rented these tiny little cabins down in that area. Yeah. And the door like we walked out and the door automatically locked behind us somehow, and I didn't have a key. And it took like, I don't know, 6 hours of making phone calls. It wasn't really 6 hours. It felt like that to my scared mama heart.
He was asleep.
He was sound asleep.
He was down for the night. Like,
yeah, he wasn't waking up.
And he was in his pumpkin seat, so he was locked in. Wasn't he?
He was in his pumpkin seat?
Was he
in the crib.
He was in a playpen. Not playpen, what are they called?
Pack and play.
Pack and play.
Yeah,
he wasn't going anywhere. And he wasn't mobile enough then to really, you had to worry about it. No, he could walk.
No, he was a year.
Yeah, remember he learned in Paris? That was after the Paris trip.
Oh, I guess so. All right, so we could.
He could glide, but he couldn't. There's no way he could have got out.
Well, anyway, yeah, he was safe and everything was fine.
He's still alive 8 years later,
like,
so we're okay.
We couldn't get anyone.
Statute of limitations, DCFS.
We couldn't get anyone to come and open. Like, they weren't answering their phone at this place. Like, we were about 2 seconds from breaking. Literally, I was going to break in the window, and I was going through the window. It was. Well,
we were talking about like putting Caleb up through this one window, but then he would fall from the top of the window. We're like, no.
He couldn't. We figured out that like that would be bad because on the other side he would be too small to jump, and so I was going to be the one to do it.
So, but eventually, like, because we called the number, we called the other number, the other number had another number, and we were going all the way through, leaving all these messages. No one's doing anything, and then somehow, like, we searched, and I found the owner's phone number. And they lived in Oregon, and I called them on their like private, Oregon, Washington. And I got on there, and they're like, how did you get this number? I'm like, I'm staying at one of your cottages here, and the guy and is like, have you talked to someone? I'm like, I've left multiple messages.
We had left messages.
Few hours.
It wasn't hours.
No, it
was. By the time we got a hold of him, it had probably been 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, and so
and we're flipping out like. This poor mama.
By that time I was pissed. I'm like, look, if you own a property and you're having this much. This place had like 30 cabins, so this isn't like a small place. I'm like, and you got nobody
somebody needs to be there on property all the time,
or answer their phone when the case emergencies like this happen. And so the owner was pissed, but not at me. He was pissed at the person. He's like, there's like 3 people you should have got before me. Like,
and
none of them are there, and so I'm like, and so the owner's like, yeah, go underneath the steps, put in this code. It's like and
there was no locksmith within like an hour.
Yeah,
that was the other part.
And like, the other thing was we could have called 911, but like, I like this is a 911 thing.
I was also worried that if we called 911, we'd be in trouble because our child got locked in the thing. It was totally by accident. It was just this perfect storm of awful things that happened. But we knew he was safe, and that's all that mattered. He didn't wake up or cry or anything. Yeah, I cried.
We had already planned, like, okay, this is where you're going to kick the door. This is how it's going to go in.
Yeah, I was going to break open. It was the window, not the door.
Well, that was the thing, because I was like, I let the message, look, if you don't get back to me in the next like 2 hours, we are going to kick the door in.
Hang on, we're off on a tangent, but I just need to point this out. Magnificent Germany with Darian. Please read the Galvant and Gals comment. It says, I have a cup like that for my coffee, except it's orange and white with a big T on it. Laugh with me.
They even sell Who buys that? Oh, you must have got that when Peyton played there. That's like a... Yeah, when you were a student there.
Black and red and white.
Back in the 90s. Like me.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. All right.
Wait, when did he come out? He came out in 98.
I don't know. Colleen, Darian says, Colleen wants to make Portuguese chicken and clams. Awesome video. Thank you. That is truly, we lived on that.
Yeah, at least once a week for 2 years.
There were like 3 meals that we ate very regularly in Lisbon, and that one was probably the one we had most often after the beef de Madeira. And the only reason beef de Madeira was
because it was across the street.
It was literally across the street, and we tried to go back there, but the people that owned that moved away. They retired, and so it sucks because our 2 favorite Tashkas in town are gone. So
why don't you go watch upstairs? Because we're like doing a live feed right now. You can watch in our room.
Carmen had to get up and make some coffee. Yeah, we're all.
So I too am Stuart. I too am a hot cocoa person. I'm not a coffee person. The taste, the flavor, the smell, I just
all of it.
Anything in treats, candy, coffee, not my jam. But cocoa, I'm always for cocoa. Actually, Lithuania has really, really great thick hot chocolate, and they put a little pepper in there, like not pepper, but red pepper,
chili pepper.
Chili pepper.
And it's like melted chocolate. I mean, there's some milk in there somewhere, I'm sure, but like it's rich.
Oh yeah, Trace is waiting for the boiled peanuts.
Yes, I got to get that out for you. Traveling the world. This is for Mark. Which YouTubers would you collaborate with after COVID? I would like to see you do one with @Yellow Productions, @Honest Guides, and Here We Bar.
So Chris from Yellow Productions, we have talked about doing a live feed together. We just haven't been able to like get our stuff scheduled. Honest Guide, so I put out the mistakes of Prague this morning. So Honest Guide, we've actually talked, and I was supposed to be in Prague this summer, and we were going to do videos together there. Because we know each other. We're not like friends, but we've taught professionally before, so we were actually going to make some videos there this summer. But since all our Europe trips got canceled, that got canceled too. Here we bar, I don't know him so well, so I haven't written him yet. So, but yeah, there's a few I would do. I know like Rob from Trip XTC. We could always do another thing together. The gals, everybody on here, so it would be fun to do. So I'm pretty open to work with anybody. It's just you have to find a reason to do it. Like if we don't have like a point, then we should just do like a live Zoom thing together, do a talk or like a panel kind of thing. But it was like, hey, we could do something together. Like when we work with Rob, we did one on his channel, and then we did one on my channel. But it was about why you should have a guide, and the reason, like ours was like 7 reasons to have a real travel guide. When you travel, and so did that really work? And that's one of the things you want to look at is like what's going to be a good collaboration. That's why. With Honest Guide, we're gonna we're gonna come with something new. Like we're gonna do like free things to do in Prague, or like things that were like ways not to get scammed in Prague, like things that work that's on their channel. It's their theme, their kind of stuff, but also works on ours. Because then it really works better. Because if you do something that doesn't make sense, then it's like, well, no, and so. But we'll definitely do it. That's why.
I need to write some things down. Derek is saying we should do a wine and cheese live stream on this channel, and that would be dope. I am totally with you, and I love the fact that you said that would be dope. That makes me very happy. A week ahead, send out the list of cheeses, and you can buy them and follow along. I think that would be really great, and I would love to do that. And Francis, I'm so glad that you liked the Aperol video. And memories do come back. It's smells and tastes, bring it all back. And Melinda, I want to bring one back for Trace. This is what you're going to start with for your boiled peanuts. Peanut patch cans. You can get this at Sam's. Walmart carries it. I'm trying to think where else I've gotten it. I have gotten the small cans at Meijer before, but I have to buy like 50 of them. This one is 3 pounds, 8 ounces. So the peanut patch, this is what you're gonna get, the jumbo ones. You can get hot ones, but I make mine hot. So if you can find this, maybe I should do one of these live. Shoot, I could probably do it now, except the problem is I have to taste it as I go, and I don't have like a real like measurement recipe because I just kind of, I know it and I feel it. So I have to make it and measure the stuff as I go so I can tell you how much of everything to put in. But start with this, drain off half the liquid, and then add in salt water to make up for the half that you drain off. And then we're gonna put like hot, like if you like it spicy, you can put hot sauce, some red pepper flakes, and things like that. But the big thing is that salt. So that salt water needs to be like really, really salty. Like more than you would like ocean salt water. Hey, don't bark. So at least as salty as the ocean is, if not more. So why are you saying, oh shoot, Jocelyn, disregard my idea? Derek, why are you saying that? Why would you not want to do that? I don't know. Because I think that cheese is good. Mark, nor even Brazilian coffee. No, Marie, he doesn't do any kind of coffee. Like he won't even eat coffee ice cream. I mean, anything with any kind of coffee flavor in it, he's 86 that in his world. Just not a fan. traveling with Nick P, I bought 6 bags of beaver nuggets to bring back to Minnesota. I'm about to hit the road again and go see the Finleys, Brian and Ronnie. I'll be listening while I'm driving. So drive safe, and you guys have fun together. Brian actually sent us, I'm going to say like 5 bags of beaver nuggets. And I think I've still got one hidden. Like we devoured one the first 5 minutes. Like we opened the box and we're like, yay, beaver nuggets. So we ate all of those. But I kind of like hid some. And yeah, because you need to keep those for a little while. So, all right. Jocelyn did a pretty sweet collab on the Trip Hacks DC podcast in March. I sure did, Rob. I enjoyed that. If y'all don't know, I think that Rob is like fantastic human being. But he's very fun and very thought out. And he gave me some great questions, and we talked about Airbnbs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he and I have had some very different experiences, but we kind of come to most of the same conclusions. And one that he pointed out that I would never have thought about is that he doesn't necessarily like to cook when traveling. Like we always tell people, oh, it's great when you get a hotel with a kitchenette, or you get an apartment, and then you can save money and things like that. But he's like, I have to cook all the time when I'm at home, and that's work for me. And I had never really thought about it as work. So anyway, okay. Did you write these things down? You did. So I don't need to write
it. Keep the list going, but don't rip it out, because if we rip it out, we always lose it.
Okay, well, I need to write it into my notebook, but that's fine. Paul Tipton, that can is huge. It really is. Oh, and you're just gonna, I didn't say this to the gals. I'm sorry. This huge can, you're gonna put it in a slow cooker and cook it all dang day and night. Until it's really, really tasty. Actually, I like to do it in the evening, put it on at like 8 o'clock at night, and then the next morning, just put it on low, and the next morning it should be good on that. So Carmen says, we love hiring professional guides, worth it. We agree. You know what? Professional guides are huge. Ratings are important, but a lot of times for me, part of what I judge a tour guide on is when I contact them ahead of time, it's how we talk back and forth, and how they answer my questions, because that tells me a lot about how they're going to guide me through this new place. So that's so I can judge for my own personal self. I can look at that and know whether or not they're going to fit me.
Liam's watching our bloodstreams.
Of course he is. Claradia. And you know what, honey? I feel like I butcher your name every time. If at some point, somewhere, you can tell me how to phonetically pronounce your name. Because I have a name that is often mispronounced badly, I'm uncomfortable. So I don't want to mess up your name.
I love you
so
too.
Anyway, she says, how quickly do you think local businesses will recover as tourist traffic rebounds? I think there are a lot that aren't going to recover. We were talking last night, my friend Sandra, actually, who does the cocktail videos with me, she said over a third of the museums in the United States are not making it through already. They've already been able to say that. So I think it's going to be slow. I think there's going to be a lot of holes in the overall business canvas, right? And that's pretty awesome. Not awesome.
It's horrible. Yeah, I know you meant
awful.
Yes.
I've been doing that all day today. I said Wyoming and Montana and got Miami.
Getting old.
I guess. My God, I'm sorry. It would be awful. Jimmy UK, good morning or afternoon to you. Where do you go this summer trip in the U.S.? We went to Savannah for a week. and rented a like standalone house so we could sort of insulate ourselves. And we didn't really see any of our friends. I mean, we saw 2 couples, and that was it. And only because both of those couples had been really isolating themselves, because at that time, right then, Georgia was
Just
making
kidding.
some bad decisions. So yeah, it was going up. So
Marie, yes, Caleb did have a nice birthday. We had a good
yeah,
time.
he did.
Let's see.
Mark Nickerson, don't eat it. It's bigger than your head. I think he's referring to my giant can of
That huge
peanuts down here. I kind of gave them a quick rundown on how to make them,
Cool.
generally speaking. But yeah, Marie, he had a good birthday. Let's see.
Francis, it's okay to be nervous, but in Scotland, it's a lot less traffic than like in England. So you'll be going, you'll get a chance to really get a good feel for it. Like we have a few videos on it that can give you some ones from Jocelyn, ones from me, just to talk about it. And there's some stuff like you can watch some things online that they actually have, like how to drive as a tourist in Scotland or England, and a lot of it's like teaching you how to do the roundabouts. Just make sure you get the GPS. Don't trust your phone. Get the car GPS. It'll tell you.
And particularly if you're going to be like in Skye or anything, when you're like off the beaten path a little bit, that's pretty important. So.
Yeah. Later, Liz. Later, Eric.
Bye, means to travels. Oh, hang on. Private guides in China was a lifesaver.
Oh yeah, we had a good private guide.
She was great. We actually got to be friends, and we went shopping together and stuff. No, the lady that took me.
That was her name too.
No, it wasn't.
It was like Sherry. It's like Sherry.
It was Sherry.
Sherry, yeah. It was because it was really close.
Yeah, it was Sherry. She was very sweet, and we had a really good time. And she took me to some great like. She's like, this is not somewhere I would ever take you on like on a tour. This is like where I actually shop. And I have my best water bottle. She got me that blue one that I just love. And because I was like, I really want one of those. I can't find them. And she showed up at my door in the morning, and she had one for me, which was the sweetest thing.
We went to like, because we did a tour with her. We did actually 2 tours with her. And we ended up hanging out, and they were just like, no, it's no charge to her, just to go hang out with you guys. And so it was really fun.
Oh, she was very cool lady.
Yes, Lushy, I know we're matching. I noticed that too earlier. Twinsies.
That's because great minds think alike.
That's right. I thought you were amazing, and you thought you were amazing, so it's perfect. I don't know if it's lagging or not. Mel and Trace.
That's a good idea too, Eric. It's something I've tossed around. Eric says, I travel adventures with Eric B. I would love to see a video on breakfast food, or maybe a U.S. regional food series like the South, for example. So I've thought about that regional food thing. Particularly, I would focus on things from the Southeast. Can you write that for me, love? Like the Southeast, the Southwest, and the Midwest, because those are the ones that I have grown up with and been doing all forever. So I would like to kind of do that too. I hadn't thought about like just breakfast foods. I really considered eggs like in all their beautiful forms, because I think eggs are like my favorite food. Like if I had to pick one thing to eat for the rest of my life, it would be eggs, because with the addition of something, you can make eggs into anything. I mean, eggs are just the most versatile food in the world to me. So that is, that's a good one.
Later, slow mama. Breakfast from around the world, yeah. So there was one. Where'd it go?
Mark Nickerson says, when's Mark going on tour with his band Shut Up Mark? So Mark Nickerson actually found a band on Facebook, and their name is Shut Up Mark, and they're from Breeze, Illinois.
Really?
Yeah. So, like on top of everything else, they're from Breeze, which is funny. Breeze is a teeny tiny little town. What just happened to the light on the thing? That's lovely. I can sit up. It's the white balance. Oh, stay there. That's nice. I like it. I can see us. That's great.
Your teeth are whiter than mine. How is that?
Jimmy UK. World Health Organization is saying that the virus will disappear in the year 2021. Can I tell you something? This is really crazy. One of my friends is really into, I don't know what you call that, when people make predictions based on stars and stuff. What do you call that?
Astrology?
Yeah. So this woman who's been dead for like 5 years said that this was going to happen. There was going to be a pandemic.
Just stop.
And it was going to end.
Just
and so I'm living on that. I don't believe in any of those things. And you can be mad at me or whatever. But I was like, wouldn't that be like the coolest thing ever if it just went away? Oh, I would love that.
Let's see. There's a question I missed. I wanted to talk about. So Troy wants to know: does anyone use ferries in Europe? If so, what is your take on the ferries? Ferries are fine. I mean, you basically you buy your ticket online beforehand, so you have it.
No.
Save a spot for your car. If you're going by foot, it's different, but like it's kind of the same. But by ferry, because what'll happen is you'll just drive your car into the ferry, the park. And they're like, okay, get out. And you go up to like the normal deck area where they sell, they're like tax free or whatever, or restaurants or whatever, entertainment, and the ways to take more of your money. And so you'll be up there, and then they make an announcement. Okay, we're getting ready to dock. Please head back to your car. And so you just get back in your car, then they let you out. And you drive off. It's pretty straightforward. Not too. I mean, we've been on ones that only took like 10 cars before. We've been on ones that took 100 cars.
Well, and like the ones from Piraeus, the Athens port to like any of the islands, those are more people than cars. And they're pretty swift, and they're significantly, usually, there's, depending on the class of ticket you buy, they're usually a lot cheaper than going on like a flight. And at certain times of the year, both flights and ferries are like limited. But for instance, when my dad and I went, we took a really late ferry, and we slept the whole way because, why not? So it was great. We made a bunch of stops on the way, and we slept through the whole thing, which was really good for us because then we were ready to go when we landed, or when we made landfall, I guess. And it was really good. So breakfasts from around the world. Scorpio Sue, let me tell you about breakfasts from around the world. Will you write that down?
I already have it.
Because like in China, the biggest breakfast was like rice soup. It's literally just boiled rice with lots of extra water, hot.
That's what I had for breakfast.
But you could get buns early.
Yeah, you get the buns in the morning.
But you couldn't get them.
But they
in
would
the
sell
afternoon.
out, and they had like there was like a fried puff pastry thing, but it was just the puff pastry
only
kind of stuff.
In the morning.
Yeah.
But so many breakfasts around the world are just really, really small. And Americans, I don't know, and Canadians do big breakfasts.
Because some places, like a lot of places, will do brunches. They'll do brunch on the weekend, whereas breakfast is like a thing in the U.S. We have breakfast places.
In Canada.
Yeah, in Canada too.
Yeah, it's like we do breakfast more than anyone else, as far as I'm concerned.
So
like
traveling the world, what was your Israel travel plans? By that I mean destinations guides, private group, and stuff. So our twice canceled now Israel one. We was thinking then talking about COVID. Yay, we're gonna get there. Dang it, we're gonna get there. That's plans for next summer. So we were gonna be in Jerusalem, and when we're staying in Jerusalem, we were gonna do over to. We're gonna go. We're going all around there in the West Bank. We're heading to the West Bank for Sunday to go to Bethlehem. We had that part. There was a few days there for the Jerusalem in that part, and Dead Sea in there. And then we were going up to Sea of Galilee and see all of the Jesus places up there. And so that was another part of the trip. Then we were flying down to Eilat in the south on the Red Sea. So we had like some beach time. Then from there we were going to do a few days in Jordan. To go into Jordan for a bit, then come back, and then finish off in Tel Aviv.
And we had a private guide.
Yeah, private guide.
Because there were 4 of us, and with the kids, we find that often, especially if you're on a tour like that where you are bebopping, bouncing all over the place, you've got a lot of stops. It's actually a lot easier with kids to delve into what they really want, and us too. But it's easier just to do it. And quite frankly, the cost, it was a little bit more, but not significant enough that it was going to make a huge difference. But the private tour, like what we got out of it was going to be a significant difference.
Yeah,
so.
And that's one thing I always say. If it's a place you really like or something you really want to know a lot about, doing the private tour is so much more because it's no problem you asking a lot more questions, where it's in a group one. Someone else might want something else, and they have to do certain stuff. So it's trying to, the lowest common denominator in those tours. Where it's yours, hey, look, it's what you want to do.
And Israel has some really interesting tours, particularly because it is, home to 3 major world religions, and so you can get guides from those 3, or you can get people who are archaeologically set, or you can get people there's just so many different types of guides in this very small place, because it's such an important place in the history of the world for so many. I really wanted to get an Orthodox guide, a Greek Orthodox guide. I should do that.
Bye, gals.
I thought that would be cool. See you later, Melinda. Don't forget about the big ass bowl peanuts.
Yeah, Francis, I was so confused by telling breakfast, coffee, and a pastry. Better give me 2 pastries. Yeah, especially the walking you're gonna do. I'm like, I'm gonna be so hungry. Darian, my mom loves German breakfast. The rolls in Germany, the cold cuts. It's funny. We've had requests from hoteliers here in the U.S. to make videos for German tourists coming to America to tell them we don't do the deli sliced bread, the deli sliced cheese for breakfast in the U.S. We do the cereals and the pancakes and stuff like that. Because in Florida, they get so many German tourists that go there, and the German tourists get pissed. They're like, where is the ham? Where is the schinken? Where is the cheese? I need my bread, and they're like, sir, we don't do that. We do this, and this place has a whole buffet spread of eggs and hash browns and sausage and bacon. And they're pissed, and so they're like,
because there's no sandwich fixins.
Yeah, well, no, it's not a sandwich.
I know it's not a sandwich
because it's open face because you'd be wasting the bread. But but that was funny because multiple hoteliers have asked me to do that. So I actually have that. I did a video. It's really a too long video on hotels in the U.S. Probably should redo it, make it a quicker one. But I made sure I made a whole thing about breakfast at the hotels.
You know what? Write this down too. I need to do laundry in the U.S. because I did one on how to use washing machines outside the U.S. because they're really confusing for us Americans because everything's done in symbols and we don't know what those symbols mean. So when people come here, it's a little bit more intuitive if you can read English, right? Because it's like wash cycles,
colors,
yeah,
lights,
and all are different. But I've forgotten. I need to make that video. So we should redo the Europe, outside the U.S. one, and put that on my channel too.
Yes, I have that on the list.
Because my channel's right now it's just all food because I can't travel, but really I wanted it to be kind of lifestyle. It's simply Jocelyn, a globally inspired life. I want it to be more than just food. I want to talk about architecture and about those little things about living abroad, not just food, but the things that are cohesive, that are universal, that we all do, and I want to bring those in and put them on this channel. It's just that I can't go anywhere, and so that's sort of a problem.
So Chris, Frankie, hey, I saw a video of the Italian train ferry that was done during the summer, and the AC and the train cabins are turned off while the train was loaded onto the ferry. Yeah, it gets a little warm. I've been on some train ferries before myself.
You have?
Yeah, when I went to Denmark with Dave.
So cool! I want to do that.
Yeah, it just gets dark in the train. So.
I think that would be really neat.
Hey, Larry and Costa Brava. I'm #jealous. Wish I was there.
Oh, yeah.
Fearless in Tennessee. Hope you're doing well.
Hello, y'all. Nice to see you. Let's see. Funny, I stayed at a hotel in the suburbs of Detroit. It served miso soup to appeal to the Japanese guests. Because of the car industry ? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, that's what you'll see. For example, spaghetti and meatballs. It's not a thing. Macaroni and cheese. It's not a thing in Italy. Yes, there's a few places that does the spaghetti and meatballs, but it's not a traditional thing.
Not. They've done that for Americans.
But if you're in Vicenza, a lot of the places will have that are near the big U.S. base there. They will actually have spaghetti and meatballs, macaroni and cheese, and stuff like that because of the tourists that are there. Because that's what they're used to getting. Because you got to appeal to your local market. That's why, like there's Mexican restaurants, around, and you'll be like, oh, and then you go to Mexico, wait, the food's a little different. Like, yeah, they have to adjust. You have the Tex-Mex, they have to adjust to the market here. What do they want? It's like, when I lived in Berlin, one of my favorite, this Indian place I loved. I went there. I lived for 2.5 years. I went there like 3 times a week, 4 times a week. I loved it so much. And after I'd been going there for about 6 months, they started to like put a little more spice in my food, and it took them time. And so it got to the point when they bring my plate out of the stuff, people would sweat as they walked by because the spice level was so high, because they had trained me over months. And the locals would ask, "Hey, can I get his spice level?" Like, no, you cannot, because you're not used to that kind of spice. I'm not taking a chance. We've trained him up for this higher level of spice, and it's interesting because you have to adjust to your market. It's kind of interesting that way. Yes, Mo, she did mention architecture. That's Jocelyn's stuff.
Yes, architecture is my jam.
So
yeah, we're totally doing that. Francis says, yes, washing machine symbols have confused me before. Loved having a washer in my
okay, break.
B&B and a CC, but man, it was confusing. Thank goodness for the host. It's a thing. Like when I moved to Europe, I mean, Mark had already lived there for a significant amount of time, and so he could help me out, but he didn't even know some of the symbols, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure that means permanent press, or like whatever. So
yeah. Well, back when I first started living there, it still had like the words next to it, so I knew what the word was. Like, oh right, that's cotton, or that's whatever.
But they've gone almost strictly to like no words on anything. So that's why it's really confusing for us.
Claudia, if you want to know what countries we can go to, CNN had a pretty decent explanation, like a thing they were tracking on there, because the State Department doesn't really have a thing so much.
The State Department is. So if you want to go to a specific country, the U.S. State Department, so state.gov, will have everything. Because like I looked at the UK, and I could see like all the requirements. You can see all the restrictions and whatever quarantine requirements they may be asking or requiring of you. So Darian says, did you say spaghetti?
Spaghetti.
Nice.
Hey Francis, could you put on that website that with the map thing? That might be easy for people somewhere, even if you can't, because sometimes YouTube doesn't let you put websites in the comments. So like, just write it like in words, then like write DOT and then com or whatever, and then on there just kind of spelled out that way. Yeah, it won't let me send it. So just take out the www part. Just like write the title of the blog, and we'll figure it out from there.
Francis and Mo are kind of cracking me up, but they're very excited about the architecture. I actually, hopefully, cross our fingers, I'm going to go over some American architecture stuff. If we do this road trip thing out west, I'm going to try and get into some of my architectural history stuff and kind of give you some, because there's some cool, I should go to Quincy and just walk around with my book and talk to people about the different types of architecture.
I agree.
Yeah,
So Mr. Chills a lot. I'm taking a break from studying linear algebra. Good. I mean, for the beginning of the semester, yeah, I'm going to take a break, having a coffee and some speculoos gingerbread. Nice.
Ooh, good.
Nice.
That sounds tasty.
Yeah.
Oh, Francis may have a good answer for you, Claudia.
We were talking about that.
Oh, did you get that Francis had something? Oh, yeah, we probably have it where you can't send the link. So
that's why I just say, like, instead of saying CNN.com, just put CNN and don't put the other stuff on there. Reopen Europa EU/map. Okay, cool.
Larry says, in the U.S., has the Sturgis biker thing caused an outbreak yet?
Not that they've talked about much on...
I don't know. It'll be a little bit later before we probably find that out. Sturgis, I would imagine, is not a place I would be right now. Although Sturgis, I've been there. I sold bikes there one year. Really fun. Great riding. Really, it was just an exciting week that I spent at Sturgis. Glad I did it, but I would not be there right now.
Now Thomas Reiser's here. We said hi to you earlier, Thomas, but it wasn't you, buddy.
The gals were looking for you, and I read it wrong, and I thought you were here, so good morning.
So Chris loves architecture. Stuart likes to ride public transport to see the architecture. Yeah, I think that'll be really fun.
All right, so I will get on that because that is something I know quite well. And
yeah, Chicago does have some great architecture.
Oh, Chicago is one of the best for mid-century architecture. But do you know also the first skyscraper there? It's this really cool. I forgot the name of the building. It's
Carbon
green.
and Carbonite.
Yeah, the Carbon.
It's now the Hard Rock Cafe Chicago Hotel.
It's a green building, and it is so cool. And the history behind how they had to build it and the way they figured it out, because Chicago is almost like a marsh. It doesn't really have much like in the way of bedrock. So what they found out to build that building has affected architecture, like for, it still is affecting it, which is really cool. And talking about affecting architecture for a long time, Palladio. Mm-hmm. When we go to Vicenza, Palladian architecture. Oh, he's my dead boyfriend. Andrea Palladio is
her jam.
Gets me kind of verklempt.
Yeah, so Trophius is saying, hey, if you love the spice, Ethiopian is definitely the way to go. Yeah, so if you're in DC, Ethiopian food is the place to be, man. Like, there's not a lot of Ethiopian restaurants in the U.S., but there's a good collection in DC, and we loved Ethiopian food, and that was another trip that got nixed this summer because of COVID. So now we got to try to figure all those things out. I think I'm just going to write down, make a card deck of places we wanted to go, and just like, we'll just pull out, when we can travel again, we'll just pull out a deck, like just go.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, Mo. Actually, so Mo was asking about Kahn and Frank Lloyd Wright. So Frank Lloyd Wright, when I was a kid, the house that I lived in what got me into preservation. It was built by an understudy of Frank Lloyd Wright. So it was really interesting. It's a Queen Anne Tudor kind of combo, but it's got these outside. It's got a few, if you know what you're looking for, it's got some really weird aspects of prairie thrown on. It's a very eclectic sort of house. But there's a ton of Frank Lloyd Wright all over this area, and I would absolutely love to do that. It's just being able, I can't get into a lot of those things right now. Most of them are outside only, and if you know anything about Wright's architecture, his insides are just as important as the outside.
Yeah, he would send furniture.
Everything.
Yeah, he would make furniture for houses, then send it to the people that he built the house for, and then send them the bill for that furniture if they didn't want it. No,
he was such a control freak.
Yeah, he was a control freak.
Oh my gosh, I would never. I love his stuff, but I would never want to have you couldn't have any say in your home. It's his art, and that's it.
So, Darian, how do you get the grizzle on a Schweinhaxe? I'd like to see how you do it. So that's the skin crispying up and the fat on there. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff.
So it's cook it high. Typically, I don't know. I've never actually made Schweinhaxe, but what? Okay, go ahead.
Darian, if you go up to Atlanta, by down the way from the college football museum, there's where they have the Atlanta, like if you look at my Films of Atlanta, right where I'm filming, there's a Atlanta mural there by a parking garage. Right up there, there's a German restaurant, and they have Schweinhaxe there, and it's legit good. My buddy and I went there and had it, and we're like, dang, they know what they're doing. And there were tons of German people that were actually there for work, and they were eating there, so it was good. So.
But typically, if you're trying to crisp something, cook it at the beginning. There's two ways to do it. Either you cook it low and slow for a long time, then turn it up at the very end and crisp up the skin. That's typical. Or you cook it really hot, really fast at the beginning, and then turn it down and do low and slow for the internal part. I'm Schweinhaxe. I'm pretty sure they put that thing on a spit and just cook forever.
For hours,
it's a low and slow, and it crisps up. But it's also, that skin it's meant to be crispy, right? Mo says, Palladio, my God, Jocelyn, don't get me started. I know, you should. You're not terribly far. When you can do it, go to Vicenza. I mean, well, I know you're in the UK, but If you're able to get over there, it's incredible. We'll be there next year, so we can go. They have a bike tour of all sorts of villas of his in that area. I can't do that because the bike tours, my ass would hurt for like a month.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I can't hardly ride 2 miles and still walk. But yeah.
So my command, one of my nerdy passions is to collect the Lego architecture sets. I have 47 so far. The ultimate goal is to visit all of them. Only 21 so far. Yeah, that's one of those things I was hoping, because Liam was into Legos he still likes them, but he was really big into them. I'm like, what if he could get, and they had them, and he was like, nah, I don't want to make that. I want to get this set instead. I'm like, well, okay. You want like the 1,000-piece Death Star, which is cheaper than the little tiny like Tokyo set. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Bye, Mary Ellen.
Goodbye, Mary Ellen.
So I did like the, sorry.
Go ahead.
I like the concept, like, it's showing a pineapple on a pizza, and then there's like the person like, show a Brit American scone.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that is very funny.
Like that would be funny if we could do it, and like if we were doing our trips with our friends, and you make like an American breakfast for an Italian family, you make an American breakfast for a German family, or something like that, or vice versa. I think that'd be kind of a fun thing.
For y'all who don't know, Michael Mann is an actual architect. I studied, the history of architecture and how to bring back those old buildings, or to save them. But he is an actual architect. So, Mo, you guys should talk. Pineapple on pizza is perfect. It melds sweet, salty, and savory. I'm actually okay with pineapple on pizza. It's not like something I'd go out of my way to order, but if somebody wanted it, I would eat it.
See, I got so used to the Hawaiian toast in Germany when I lived there. Like that was everybody's go-to like drunk snack, because it was just like a piece of bread, a slice of the equivalent of like a Kraft single, and but like a Havarti or something. It's like a fancy single or whatever, and then a piece of ham on top, and then they put the ham, and then they put the ring of pineapple, and they put the cheese on top, and they bake it to go through. And I could never get into it. But my cousin was here last year, I guess, and they'd got a pineapple and pepperoni pizza.
That was good.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't order it. I'd order my normal pizza over, but it was. I mean, I would eat it.
Right, but I don't love that Canadian bacon on pizzas.
Yeah, that's.
I like it on other things, but not on pizza.
Like on your eggs Benedict.
Yes. And have I done?
No, I have it written down. Look.
Have we not made that?
No, you haven't. It's right there. Eggs Benedict.
So, and I have a great recipe for making the hollandaise in a blender, so that you can. It actually is much more stable in a blender than doing it by hand. So I need to get that done because that's really, really good.
It is really, really good. Was that like in May? We were having that like 3 or 4 times a week. She's like, that's so good.
Chris Bates, it's interesting that FLW, Frank Lloyd Wright, designed buildings for certain places. Grady Gamage in Tempe was designed to be the Opera House in Baghdad. Yeah, he's talk about prolific and very set. It's for places. He's just an interesting dude. So bye, Chris. Have a good weekend. Off for a meeting. Nobody wants that.
I'm looking up Strammer Max right now, Peter. So Mo's birthday is with a bunch of people.
When's Mo's birthday? Today?
No, it's same as Gowdy and a few other people.
Oh, that's cool. I missed that.
Yes, I've had that. I've had the Stammer Max.
That was my eardrum.
Sorry.
I mean, I actually felt that happen.
It's a drunk breakfast open face sandwich.
Cesar Venturi, and Gowdy. I see that. That's so cool. Hope to be half as good an architect as them. Yeah, if you're half as good as any of them, you'll be and we'll be very proud of you when you get there. I'm sure you can do it. What?
No, then I'm slapping at Mark.
Oh, then I have to make red beans and rice. Ah, write it down.
I did like that.
Just got back from a week at the beach. So, I don't know. I guess I got a lot of sun this week because my neighbor yesterday, she's like, Jocelyn, you're really tan. I'm like, was only at the pool for like a day and only like a couple hours, and I put sunscreen, but I tan through sunscreen. It doesn't matter.
So I go every day because it's the only thing that's open around here, and I'm like, I'm paying for it. Let's go.
Might as well do it.
Like on Monday, I just went, said hi to the guards, and we came in. They have a big water slide. Oh, not big. They have a water slide. Literally walked up. When I was walking up, one of my colleagues from work was out there, so I talked to him for like 10 minutes. Then finished walking up the slide. Went down the slide, got my towel, and left.
I do love to enter the pool via the slide. That would be. I almost never get into the water unless it's via either the slide or the diving board.
So Kim loves breakfast for dinner as well.
Yeah,
it goes all the time. I used to, when I was a kid, I was so happy to have waffles for dinner. I'm like, oh, it was like a happy day. Hawaii's in the future. We don't know when yet. Like everything. I mean, we had like kind of a plan out for the next few years of how things are going to go. Because with kids getting a certain age, where we can go, what we can do, what we can't do, and then with school holidays, so it's kind of like planning these things out. And now all that's kind of come crashing down because this year we're online, and so like school, we don't know when school ends. We don't know what's going on, so it's kind of a crazy time.
Tony, I need to find this for you. Tony has, we've talked about this before,
Sure.
Or I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm reading. Y'all, I'm having trouble today. Troy has asked about traveling to alleviate PTSD, and I had mentioned something about rangers, or that I've heard of people doing this.
Yeah, in Israel, a lot of them will go for
right
6 months to just decompress, to get out of the...
Yeah, ride well, Chris. So I have got to find this. Let's see what I can do.
Bye, Francis.
My goddaughter's dad JR has just started something.
Hi, Sue. And for those of you that are getting on here now, we're going to probably sign off here at 11, so in about 10 minutes. But we'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 because I had said, on some people I had said we're going to do it on Saturday, and some people I said we're going to do it on Sunday. So we're just going to do both, and it'll be on Jocelyn's channel again. So hope to see some of you tomorrow as well.
Okay. Troy, try this. It's O as in octopus, P as in Paul, F as in funny, O as in
OP.
OP, FOB. So it's Operation Patriots FOB. They're starting up like a group. And they're going to have, it's kind of like hunting preserve and things like that, but like fishing and stuff. But it's going to be specifically for vets to get together and kind of like work through some stuff and things. JR also used to, so he had MWD, he was a handler. What do you call them? A canine handler in the Marines. And he has trained dogs for vets, and like it's something he's very, very passionate about, being a vet himself. And so I think that what he's doing is going to grow in a lot of different ways. But you should kind of check that out and tell him you found out from us, so he knows where you're coming from, and your care about travel. But they're doing this down in South Carolina, not far from Savannah. So that would be really good for you too, because I know you like the area.
So Kim M, has anyone done a long haul flight in a mask? Any tips? We have not done. We haven't flown since February. That's one of the things we're talking about. Just going to fly, just video it so people can see,
to understand that, so that everybody gets that. Trip.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is it's uncomfortable, but you got to do it because you will get banned for life.
Nobody wants that.
And believe me, airlines are going to go out of business. And if the few ones that are still open, the ones you're banned for life from, you're
not going to like that. But get a comfortable mask. That's Like
Yeah.
I can't find
Yeah,
my favorite one. I'm totally ticked about.
Yeah, I don't know that one. But like, if you get the one, like if you get the cheap ones that are the one-use ones, that's not going to be comfortable long thing because those things cut into you. Get the cloth elastic ones, or like I wouldn't do the ones that tie in the back because you're trying to sleep. It's got that knot's going to hit you in the back of the head. So you probably
we're gonna have some on our website.
You do have.
Well, there are some now too, but we're gonna get a couple different ones too. We've got this one. A lot of people like the ones that go over your head. I don't particularly like those, partially because it looks like I'm putting a jock strap on my face. I'm not a big fan, but they're really comfortable for being not behind your ears. So that might be something to think about. The all-made ones, all good, right? And they've got the really soft multiple layers of cotton. Those are really nice. So yeah, you just really make sure you have something that is comfortable for you. So
hey Roxanne, don't worry. So we have today and tomorrow on Sunday we're gonna have another live feed on Simply Jocelyn at 9:00.
Yep.
At Chicago time. So we'll go probably for another 2 hours tomorrow too. So you can hop on tomorrow and get some live stuff then.
Yep, no worries. We'll be here. So
So the Finleys got April, their daughter, mass yesterday with their dog's face on it. So that's that's nice.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's so wonderful.
Oh, Chris is off of yours about Chris. That's why I said
yeah, because he was gonna ride.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up for today because we'll be back tomorrow at 9:00. So same time tomorrow. We'll be here on the Simply Jocelyn channel for another live feed. So we'll be here for that. So we look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow.
By the way, if there's anything specific you want to talk about tomorrow, go ahead and write some things down here, and we will make note of that if there's anything that you want. So
and if this is like if you're watching this on the replay and that, just put it in the comments below. So look in the comments tonight because this thing will go live in about an hour, so people can do the review or the rewatch.
Yes, please do that. So, all right. Well, you guys have a good one, and we will see y'all tomorrow. Same time, same great place.
Bye, y'all.